The Devourer Scout was unlike anything Captain Dae-hyun had ever seen. It was perfect geometry made real, a massive octahedron spinning slowly in space, each face covered in patterns that hurt to look at. It moved with purpose, ignoring the fleet approaching it, focused only on the planet below. Range, Dae-hyun asked. 1,000,000 kilometers and closing, Tae-young replied. All weapons ready. Collective fleet is holding formation. Fire when ready. The Eternal Horizon spoke with thunder. Railguns launched projectiles at a fraction of light speed. Nuclear-tipped missiles streaked across space. Energy weapons painted the darkness with beams of destruction. The combined firepower of humanity's most powerful warship struck the Devourer Scout. The geometric vessel shuddered. Its shields flared, absorbing the energy weapons easily. But the kinetic projectiles punched through. The railgun rounds hit like hammer blows, cracking the perfect surfaces. Nuclear explosions blossomed against its hull. Direct hits, Tae-young reported, but it's still functional. The Devourer finally noticed them. It turned, abandoning the planet below. Panels opened across its surface, revealing weapons that had harvested 1,000 worlds. Beams of impossible energy reached out, touching 3 collective ships. The ships simply came apart. Not exploded, not destroyed, just disassembled at the molecular level, turned into clouds of component atoms. Evasive maneuvers, Dae-hyun shouted. The Eternal Horizon twisted, its massive bulk moving with surprising grace. The disassembly beam missed by mere kilometers. The collective fleet scattered, trying to avoid the deadly weapons. All ships target the weapon ports, Dae-hyun ordered. Concentrated fire. Don't let it lock on. The battle became chaos. Ships dove and weaved, firing when they could, running when they must. The Devourer was powerful but slow to target. Human tactics, developed over millennia of warfare, proved effective. Strike fast, move constantly, never give the enemy an easy shot. Bora worked frantically at her station. Captain, I'm analyzing the shield frequency. I think I can disrupt it. Do it. Bora's fingers flew across the controls. She launched a spread of modified missiles, each one broadcasting a resonance frequency. They struck the Devourer's shields and detonated. The shields flickered, destabilized for just seconds. Shields down, Tae-young shouted. All weapons fire. The entire fleet opened fire at once. Railgun rounds, missiles, energy weapons, even the weak collective weapons. Everything hit the Devourer at the same moment. The geometric vessel's armor cracked. Internal explosions rippled across its surface. It spun wildly, losing control. One more volley, Dae-hyun ordered. The second barrage finished it. The Devourer Scout broke apart, pieces tumbling through space. The fleet cheered across all channels. They had won, but the celebration was short-lived. Sensors detected more contacts, many more. The main Devourer fleet was arriving. Over the next weeks, the war became desperate. More Devourer Scouts entered collective space. The Eternal Horizon and the collective fleet raced from system to system, fighting wherever they could. They won some battles. They lost others. Billions of civilians evacuated from threatened worlds. Millions died when evacuations came too late. Captain Dae-hyun barely slept. His hair had gone completely white from stress. The crew was exhausted, running on stimulants and determination. But they kept fighting. Dr. Hana made a breakthrough. Captain, I've been studying the Devourer programming. They're not intelligent, not really. They follow patterns, algorithms. They prioritize targets based on biological signatures. If we could broadcast a false signature, we could bait them into a trap. What kind of trap? Dae-hyun asked. There's a binary star system in the outer rim. The stars are unstable. With the right push, we could trigger a supernova. If we could lure the main Devourer fleet there, we'd vaporize them, Tae-young finished. But someone would have to stay behind to make sure they commit fully to the attack. Someone would have to be the bait. Everyone knew which ship that would be. The Eternal Horizon was the only vessel tough enough to survive long enough to ensure the Devourers didn't retreat before the stars went supernova. Dae-hyun looked at his crew. His family. The people who had trusted him to lead them into the unknown. Prepare the ship. We're going to end this war, War Scholar Krennic objected. This is suicide. The Eternal Horizon will be destroyed. Maybe, Dae-hyun said, but the galaxy will survive. That's worth it. Ambassador Velcris spoke through the communication system. Captain, please. There must be another way. There isn't, you know it. We know it. This is what we came here to do. Protect those who can't protect themselves. The plan was set in motion. The Eternal Horizon broadcast an irresistible signal, the signature of a world with trillions of inhabitants ripe for harvesting. The Devourers detected it and converged, hundreds of the geometric vessels drawn by the promise of so much biological matter. The Eternal Horizon waited at the binary star system, alone. The collective fleet stayed far away, ready to trigger the supernova once the Devourers were in position. "Here they come," Taeyang said quietly. The Devourer fleet arrived like a nightmare made real, hundreds of massive vessels all focused on the single human ship that dared to challenge them. "All power to shields and engines," Daehyun ordered. "We just need to survive 6 hours. Just 6 hours." What followed was the longest 6 hours in human history. The Eternal Horizon became a dancer, weaving through impossible patterns, dodging disassembly beams by meters. Every weapon fired constantly. Hull breaches opened across multiple decks. Crew members died at their stations and were replaced by others who kept fighting. Bora worked in vented compartments, fixing critical systems while wearing an emergency suit. Jiwon maintained communication with the collective fleet, coordinating the supernova trigger. Dr. Hana calculated Devourer positions, ensuring they were all committed. Taeyang managed weapons, finding patterns in the chaos, exploiting every weakness, and Captain Daehyun held his ship together through force of will. 5 hours passed. The Eternal Horizon was barely functional, shields failing, armor breached in 100 places. But the Devourers were all here, surrounding the human ship, focused entirely on destroying the annoying prey that refused to die. "Now," Hana shouted. "Trigger it now." Far away, the collective fleet activated the device. The binary stars destabilized. Nuclear fusion went critical. The stars began to explode. "All power to engines," Daehyun ordered. "Get us out of here." The Eternal Horizon burned its remaining fuel in one desperate push, accelerating away from the dying stars. Behind them, the supernova began. Light and heat and radiation expanded outward at unimaginable speed. The Devourer fleet caught in the gravity well couldn't escape. They were vaporized instantly. Hundreds of world killers turned to atomic dust. The shockwave caught the Eternal Horizon, even at maximum speed. The ship tumbled through space, systems failing, power dying. But they were outside the kill zone. Barely. Just barely. In the darkness of the damaged bridge, Daehyun laughed. They had done it. The Devourer invasion was broken. Rescue ships found the Eternal Horizon 3 days later. The crew was alive, though many were injured. The ship would need years of repairs. But they had survived, and they had saved the galaxy. High Arbiter Selen addressed the Galactic Collective Council with the Eternal Horizon's crew present. "Let it be known that humanity has proven themselves. They came to us as strangers with frightening weapons. We called them monsters. We were wrong. They are not monsters. They are defenders. Warriors who fight for others, not for themselves." The council voted unanimously. Humanity was granted full membership in the Galactic Collective. More than that, they were named the Protectorate, the military guardians of the galaxy, using their hard-won knowledge of violence to preserve peace. Captain Daehyun stood at the observation deck of the repaired Eternal Horizon, watching the 7 new human dreadnoughts arrive from Earth. The galaxy's reinforcements had come. Humanity's monster ships, no longer feared but respected, Ambassador Velcris joined him. "Do you think the galaxy will always need warriors?" "I hope not," Daehyun said. "I hope someday weapons like these will be obsolete. But until that day comes, we'll stand watch. We'll be the monsters that protect the innocent from real monsters. Then we are fortunate you found us when you did." Daehyun smiled. "So are we, Ambassador. So are we." The Eternal Horizon set course for patrol routes in the Outer Rim. Behind it, human and alien ships flew in formation. Different species, different worlds united by a common cause. The galaxy had learned that monsters are defined not by what they carry, but by what they choose to do. And humanity had chosen to be heroes. 6 months passed. The Eternal Horizon had become a strange fixture in collective space, traveling from world to world, meeting different species, trying to build bridges. Some meetings went well, others did not. Captain Daehyun stood in the observation deck watching a collective station drift past. Behind him, Bora worked on a datapad, reviewing technical specifications. She had been sharing human engineering knowledge with collective scientists, teaching them techniques humanity had developed through centuries of warfare. How did the meeting go? Bo-Ra asked without looking up. The Kalathi refused to meet with us, Dae-hyun said tiredly. They're a prey species. They took one look at us and ran. Literally ran. Their ambassador fled the room. Can't blame them. We probably look like their worst nightmare. I'm starting to think this was a mistake. Maybe we should have stayed home. Bo-Ra finally looked up. You don't mean that, don't I? Half the collective is terrified of us. The other half wants to study us like dangerous animals. We're not making friends, Bo-Ra. We're making the galaxy uncomfortable. Before Bo-Ra could respond, alarms started blaring throughout the ship. Both officers ran for the bridge. Tae-yang was already at his station when they arrived. His face was grim. Captain, long-range sensors are picking up something. Multiple contacts. Very large. Moving fast. Show me, Dae-hyun ordered. The main screen displayed sensor data. Dozens of massive objects were approaching from deep space. They were huge, each one the size of a small moon. Their energy signatures were off the charts, and they were heading directly for collective territory. What are they? Dr. Hana asked, coming onto the bridge. Unknown, Tae-yang said. But they match ancient energy signatures in the collective database. Captain, I think these are the Devourers. The word sent chills through everyone present. The Devourers. War scholar Krenix had mentioned them once. Ancient machine intelligence that harvested biological civilizations. They appeared every 50,000 years. The last time they came, they nearly destroyed all life in the galaxy. Get me High Arbiter Solen, Dae-hyun ordered. Now. Within minutes, Solen's face appeared on the screen. The Arbiter's colors were dark, almost black with streaks of red. Fear. You have seen them. Yes. The Devourers are real. Very real. They arrive, they harvest, they leave. Billions die. Worlds are stripped of all biological matter. We knew they would return eventually, but we hoped it would not be in our lifetime. What's the collective's defense plan? Tae-yang asked. Solen's silence was answer enough. You don't have one, Dae-hyun said slowly. 10,000 years of peace and you forgot how to fight. We have peacekeeping forces, Solen said defensively. We have weapons. Bo-Ra pulled up tactical data. High Arbiter, with respect, your weapons are designed to disable ships, not destroy them. The Devourers won't stop because you ask nicely. They're machines. They don't negotiate. Then what do we do? Solen's form flickered with desperation. Do we evacuate? Where would we go? The Devourers will spread across the entire galaxy. There is nowhere to run. Dae-hyun looked at his crew. He saw the same thought in everyone's eyes. They all knew what had to be done. What only they could do. You fight, Dae-hyun said. And we'll help you. Your ship is powerful, but it is only one ship, Solen said. Even the Eternal Horizon cannot stop an entire Devourer fleet. We're not alone, Ji-won said suddenly. She had been working her communication equipment frantically. Captain, I've been in contact with Earth. They received our reports about the collective. They've been building. Building what? Dae-hyun asked. More ships. 7 more Goliath-class dreadnoughts. They're ready to launch. Earth Defense Forces mobilizing. Every nation, every faction united for the first time in human history. They can be here in 18 months. We don't have 18 months, Tae-yang said. Devourer scouts will reach the outer rim in weeks. Dae-hyun made his decision. The decision he had known he would make since the moment he saw those sensor readings. High Arbiter Solen, the Eternal Horizon will engage the Devourer scouts. We'll buy time for evacuations and for Earth's fleet to arrive. But we'll need support from collective forces. You would fight for us? Solen asked. The galaxy that fears you? The species that called you monsters? Yes, Dae-hyun said simply. Because it's the right thing to do. Because you welcomed us despite your fear. Because we have weapons and you need them. And because maybe, just maybe, this is why we built these weapons in the first place. Not to fight each other, but to protect those who can't protect themselves. Solen's color shifted rapidly. Processing emotions. I will call an emergency council session. We will prepare our forces. But Captain, even if we combine our fleets, the odds are not good. They never are, Dae-hyun said. But humans are stubborn. We don't give up easily. The transmission ended. Dae-hyun turned to his crew. All hands to battle stations. Engineering. I want every weapon system checked and rechecked. Tactical, start running combat simulations. Medical, prepare for casualties. We're going to war. The crew moved with practiced efficiency. This was what they had trained for, what the ship was built for. Finally, after months of being treated like dangerous animals, they would prove they were dangerous for a reason. War scholar Krenix arrived aboard the Eternal Horizon 2 days later. He brought with him detailed information about the Devourers and the Collective's military capabilities. It wasn't encouraging. The Collective has not fought a real war in 10,000 years, Krenix explained. Our tactics are outdated. Our weapons are weak. Our soldiers have no experience. Then we'll train them, Taeyang said. We have time before the main fleet arrives. We can teach them. Teach us what? How to be as violent as humans. Krenix's voice held an edge. No, Daehyun said. Teach you how to survive. Violence isn't about cruelty. It's about protecting what you love. Your people forgot that. We'll help you remember. Over the next weeks, the Eternal Horizon became a training ground. Collective soldiers came aboard to learn human combat tactics. Bora worked with Collective engineers to upgrade their ship's weapons and shields. Hana studied Devourer biology, looking for weaknesses. Jiwon coordinated communication networks across the growing defense fleet. Ambassador Velkris visited often, watching the preparations. One day she found Captain Daehyun alone in the observation deck staring at the stars. Are you afraid? She asked. Terrified, Daehyun admitted. We're one ship against an army of world killers. The smart thing would be to run, but you will not run. No, we won't. Why? You owe us nothing. We treated you with suspicion and fear. Daehyun smiled sadly. When I was young, my father told me something. He said that strength without compassion is tyranny. But compassion without strength is meaningless. Humans have strength. You have compassion. Maybe together we have a chance. Velkris's crystalline body glowed softly. The Collective judged you as monsters because of what you carried. We should have judged you by what you chose to do with it. Don't apologize, Daehyun said. You were right to be afraid. We are dangerous, but danger can be a tool just like anything else. The question isn't whether someone is dangerous. It's what they choose to do with that danger. The first Devourer scout entered Collective space 3 weeks later. It was massive, a geometric nightmare of metal and energy. It ignored all communication attempts. It simply moved toward the nearest inhabited world and began harvesting. The Eternal Horizon, leading a fleet of 40 Collective vessels, moved to intercept. The real fight was about to begin. Humanity's monster ship would prove what it was built for. Not conquest, not destruction, but protection. The crew of the Eternal Horizon took their positions. Captain Daehyun sat in his command chair, surrounded by his officers. Behind him, Collective officers worked at auxiliary stations integrated into the human crew. All ships, this is Captain Daehyun, he broadcast across the fleet. We're not fighting for territory or resources. We're fighting for survival, for every species in this galaxy that wants to live. The Devourers don't negotiate. They don't surrender. They only understand force, so we'll give them force. We'll show them that this galaxy has defenders, human and alien, working together. Let's go save some worlds. The fleet engaged their engines, racing toward the approaching Devourer. The war had begun. High Arbiter Selen floated in the docking bay, studying the humans before it. 3 other beings had accompanied the Arbiter, creatures that looked nothing like anything from Earth. One appeared crystalline and insect-like, shimmering in the light. Another resembled a plant with vine-like appendages and flowers that pulsed with bioluminescence. The third looked reptilian, covered in dark scales, standing on 2 legs with eyes that missed nothing. Captain Daehyun kept his smile gentle. He knew how humans must look to these beings, large, muscular, predatory, everything about human evolution screamed danger to species that had evolved as prey or peaceful creatures. Welcome to the Eternal Horizon, Daehyun said. Jiwon stood beside him with translation equipment, converting his words into patterns the aliens could understand. I am Captain Daehyun. These are my officers. We are honored to meet you. High Arbiter Solin's form pulsed with colors. The translation came through Jiwon's speakers. I am Solin. With me are Ambassador Velkris of the Turians, Healer Misara of the Sylvani, and War Scholar Krenix of the Vol. We have come to understand what you are. The crystalline being, Velkris, vibrated nervously. She had been on the ship that first encountered the Eternal Horizon. She had seen her drones destroyed. The fear was obvious in how she kept her distance. Would you like to see our ship? Dr. Hana asked, barely containing her excitement. We could show you how we live. Show you that we're not so different from you. The plant-like Misera moved forward, her movements graceful. Yes, we wish to see. To understand? Daehyun led them through the ship. He had chosen the route carefully. First, the hydroponics bay. Massive rooms filled with plants from Earth growing under artificial lights. The smell of soil and green things filled the air. Misara moved among the plants, touching leaves gently. Her whole body seemed to relax. You care for these. You nurture them. We need them, Bora explained. For food and oxygen. On a journey like ours, we have to bring life with us. These plants kept our crew alive for 87 years. You are gardeners, Misara said, and there was wonder in her voice. Killers who are also gardeners. Next came the medical bay. Rows of equipment, beds, surgical tools. Dr. Hana showed them the human medical technology. We're fragile, she explained. Space is dangerous for us. Radiation, disease, accidents. This equipment keeps us alive. Humans break easily. Krenix, the reptilian war scholar, examined the medical tools with his sharp eyes. You prepare extensively for injury. You expect violence even among yourselves. Our history has been violent, Daehyun admitted. We hurt each other for a long time before we learned to cooperate. This ship carries the lessons of that painful history. They walked through crew quarters next. Personal rooms filled with photos, drawings, and small treasures. Pictures of families back on Earth. Children who would be centuries dead by now. Beloved pets, favorite places. Each room told a story of a human who left everything behind to journey into the unknown. Velcris stopped at one room, looking at a photo of a young woman hugging an older couple. This one has a family. We all do, Daehyun said quietly. Or did. Time moves differently in stasis. Everyone we knew is gone now. These photos are all we have left of home. High Arbiter Solen's colors shifted to darker blues. You sacrificed everything for this journey. You knew you would never return. We volunteered, Ji-won said. We wanted to know if we were alone in the universe. We wanted to meet you even if it cost us everything. Finally, they reached the bridge, the command center of the Eternal Horizon. This was where the aliens would see the truth of what humanity had built. Weapons controls, tactical displays, targeting systems, all the tools of war laid bare. Krenix approached the weapons station slowly. His clawed hand hovered over the controls. May I? Taeyang nodded and activated a display. Holographic images showed the ship's full armament. Thousands of weapons, nuclear missiles, railguns that could punch through mountains, energy weapons, point defense systems, enough firepower to level a civilization. Krenix studied the display for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was heavy. This is beautiful and terrible. Your species has perfected the art of destruction. We had to, Daehyun said. We fought each other for 10,000 years. Humans are good at war because we've had so much practice. Why did you bring these weapons to space? Solen asked. Daehyun looked at the High Arbiter directly. Because we were afraid. We didn't know what was out here. We didn't know if the universe was full of species like you, peaceful and wise, or if it was full of predators worse than us. We prepared for the worst, and now? Velcris asked, her crystalline body still vibrating with fear. Now that you know we are peaceful, what will you do with these weapons? It was the most important question. The answer would determine everything. Nothing, Daehyun said simply. These weapons will only fire if we need to defend ourselves or others. We came here hoping to never use them. We still hope that. Misara moved closer to the captain. Her vine-like appendages reached out, almost touching him but stopping just short. I am an empath, she explained. I feel emotions from living beings. May I? What do you want to do? Feel what you feel. Know if your words are true? Daehyun nodded. Misara's vines touched his arm gently. The sensation was strange, like electricity and warmth combined. The healer's body glowed brighter, pulsing with light. After a moment, Misara pulled back. She turned to face the other aliens. He speaks truth. I feel fear in him. Shame about the weapons. Hope that we can be friends. Loneliness, determination, but no desire to harm us. None at all, Solen's form brightened. You risk much by allowing this test. You risked more by coming here, Daehyun replied. You stepped onto a warship to meet creatures you feared. That took courage. Krennic spoke up, his voice grave. Captain, I must ask you something. You built these weapons to fight other humans, but what would you have done if you found hostile aliens? Species that wanted to harm you? Daehyun met the war scholar's eyes. We would have fought. We would have used every weapon on this ship to survive. We would have become the monsters you feared we were. Honest, Krennic said. Brutally honest. I won't lie to you, Daehyun said. Humans are dangerous. We can be violent. We carry weapons that could destroy your worlds. But we're also capable of kindness, of sacrifice, of love. We're complicated, just like I suspect your species are. Velcris finally spoke, her voice like crystal bells. My people want to quarantine you, to keep you away from the collective. They are terrified. We understand, Hana said gently. We would be scared too if a ship like ours appeared in our space. But I think, Velcris continued, that fear is not enough reason to reject friendship. You destroyed our drones, yes, but you also powered down your weapons to let us aboard. You showed us your vulnerabilities. You let a healer touch your captain's mind. These are not the actions of conquerors. Solen's colors shifted to warm golds and greens. The collective council debates your fate even now. Some want you gone, some want you destroyed. But I will tell them what I have seen here. A species that carries the tools of war but the hearts of explorers. Dangerous, yes, but perhaps necessarily so. What do you mean? Taeyang asked, Krennic answered. The galaxy is not as safe as the collective believes. There are old threats, ancient dangers that sleep but do not die. The collective has forgotten how to fight. We chose peace and let our weapons rust, but some evils do not respond to peace. You think you might need us, Bora said slowly. Perhaps, Solen said, or perhaps we need to remember that strength and peace are not opposites. Your people seem to understand that. The meeting continued for hours. The aliens toured more of the ship, asked hundreds of questions, and slowly began to see humans not as monsters but as people. Strange people. Dangerous people. But people nonetheless. As the aliens prepared to leave, High Arbiter Solen made an announcement. Captain Daehyun, I will recommend to the Council that humanity be granted provisional contact status. You will be allowed to remain in collective space. We will learn from each other. Daehyun bowed again. Thank you, High Arbiter. You've given us a great gift. Perhaps, Solen said, or perhaps you have given us one. Time will tell. The aliens returned to their shuttle and departed. The Eternal Horizons crew watched them go, hardly daring to believe what had happened. They had done it. First contact was successful. Humanity had a chance, but none of them knew that far across the galaxy ancient sensors were waking up. Old machines were detecting the energy signature of the Eternal Horizons' arrival, and they were coming to investigate. The real test was yet to begin. Days passed, 3 long days of silence. The Eternal Horizon held its position while the alien blockade watched from a distance. No one fired. No one approached. The galaxy's most peaceful species and humanity's most powerful warship were locked in a standoff that neither side wanted. Captain Daehyun barely slept. He spent his time on the bridge, broadcasting messages in every format Ji-Wan could create. Mathematical sequences, pictures, videos of Earth's oceans and forests, recordings of music, anything to prove humanity meant no harm. Are they receiving our transmissions? Daehyun asked. Ji-Wan nodded, exhausted. Yes, sir. All of them. But they're not responding. Well, not to us directly. I'm picking up their internal communications, though. They're arguing about what to do with us. Can you translate? Some of it. Their languages are complex, but I'm getting better. Ji-Wan pulled up her notes. They call themselves the Galactic Collective. 47 different species living in peace for 10,000 years. They've never met a species like us before. What are they saying about us? Ji-Wan hesitated. They're scared, Captain. Really scared. Some want to quarantine us. Others want to try communication. A few think we should be destroyed before we can hurt anyone. Taeyang slammed his fist on his console. We haven't done anything. We destroyed some drones by accident. That's it. To them, those were expensive survey equipment, Dr. Hana said softly. She had been studying the alien transmissions, too, and we destroyed them without effort. Like swatting flies. It showed them how powerful our weapons are. Borak came to the bridge carrying a datapad. The engineer looked tired. I've been analyzing their ships. Captain, they're incredibly advanced in some ways. Their power systems are elegant. Their medical technology is amazing. But their weapons? She shook her head. They barely have any. What they do have is designed for disabling ships, not destroying them. They've forgotten how to build real weapons. Because they haven't needed them, Hana said. They've had peace for 10,000 years. Can you imagine? 10,000 years without war. And then we show up, Taeyang muttered, covered in guns, looking like we're ready to conquer the galaxy. Daehyun stood and walked to the window. Outside, stars shined cold and distant. Somewhere out there, Earth continued spinning. His daughter would be long dead by now. Everyone he knew except this crew was gone. Time had moved on without them, and now they were here, in a new era representing all of humanity to aliens who thought humans were monsters. Captain, Ji-won said suddenly, I'm getting a new transmission. It's different from the others. More formal. Put it through. The bridge speakers crackled. A voice came through speaking in a language that sounded like wind chimes and water. Ji-won's computer translated it into English text on the screen. Unknown vessel. This is High Arbiter Solon of the Galactic Collective. We wish to understand your intentions. Why have you come to our space? What do you seek? It was the first direct message from the aliens. The bridge crew held their breath. Ji-won, Daehyun said, send this reply. Translate it as clearly as you can. He took a deep breath and spoke slowly. High Arbiter Solon, this is Captain Daehyun of the human vessel Eternal Horizon. We come from a planet called Earth. We traveled 87 years to reach your space. We came seeking knowledge and friendship. We did not mean to frighten you. We are not here to fight. We want only to meet you and learn from you. Ji-won worked her magic, converting his words into mathematical patterns and simple images. The message flew across space toward the alien fleet. They waited. Minutes felt like hours. Another message came back. You carry weapons capable of destroying worlds. Your ship is built for war. How can you claim peaceful intentions when you travel in a machine of death? Taeyang started to argue, but Daehyun held up his hand. The captain thought carefully about his answer. He needed to be honest. Completely honest. High Arbiter, you are correct. This ship is built for war. We built it this way because we were afraid. We did not know what waited in the stars. We did not know if we would meet friends or enemies. Our species has a violent history. We fought each other for thousands of years. We built these weapons because we thought we might need them, but we hoped we would not. Daehyun paused. We were wrong to bring so much violence into your peaceful space. But we cannot change what we built. We can only prove that weapons do not make us evil. What we do with them does. The transmission ended. Again they waited. The crew watched the sensors, counting the minutes. Then something unexpected happened. One ship broke formation from the alien fleet. A single vessel, glowing like a captured rainbow, moved slowly toward the Eternal Horizon. Captain, one of their ships is approaching, Taeyang said. Should we go to alert status? No, Daehyun said. Let them come. No weapons. No threatening moves. This might be our only chance. The alien ship came closer. It was small compared to the Eternal Horizon, barely the size of a shuttle. It stopped a few kilometers away. Close enough to see clearly. Close enough to communicate without delay. Close enough to be destroyed instantly if humans wanted to. A new message arrived. Captain Daehyun. This is High Arbiter Solon. I am aboard the approaching vessel. I wish to meet you face to face. I wish to see if humans are truly monsters or if you are simply people who carry frightening tools. Will you allow me to board your ship? The bridge erupted in whispers. An alien wanted to come aboard. To step inside the monster's den, to meet humans in person. It could be a trick, Taeyang warned. What if they're planning something? What could they plan? Bora asked. Look at their ship. It's barely armed. They're taking a huge risk approaching us. Hana was practically bouncing with excitement. Captain, this is it. This is first contact! Real first contact! We have to say yes. Daehyun made his decision. Ji-won, send this message. High Arbiter Solon, you are welcome aboard the Eternal Horizon. You will not be harmed. You have my word as captain and as a human being. We will meet you in our docking bay. He turned to his crew. Everyone, listen carefully. We have one chance to get this right. Bora, power down all weapons in the docking bay section. I want 0 threat displays. Hana, prepare your first contact protocols. Ji-won, get down there with translation equipment. Taeyang, gather a security team, but they stay in dress uniforms with no visible weapons. We're going to show them that humans can be civilized. Sir, Bora said. Powering down weapons leaves that entire section vulnerable. I know, Daehyun said. That's the point. We need to be vulnerable. We need to show trust. The Eternal Horizon's docking bay doors opened. Inside, lights flickered on, revealing a clean space that the crew had spent 3 days preparing. No weapons visible, no soldiers in armor, just a few humans in neat uniforms waiting nervously. The alien shuttle approached slowly. It was beautiful up close, made of something that looked like crystal and metal merged together. It touched down gently on the deck. The bay doors closed behind it. Atmosphere flooded in. Captain Dae-hyun stood in the center of the bay with his senior staff. His heart pounded in his chest. In a moment he would see an alien for the first time. So would they see humans? Everything depended on the next few minutes. The alien shuttle opened. A figure emerged, floating on some kind of energy field. It was beautiful and terrifying. The alien looked like a cloud of light shaped vaguely like a person, contained inside a bubble of shimmering energy. Colors swirled through its form, blues and purples and golds. High Arbiter Solen hovered above the deck looking at the humans. Studying them. The humans stared back, frozen in wonder and fear. Then Dae-hyun did something simple. He smiled, a real, genuine smile, and he bowed his head in respect. The first real contact between humans and aliens had begun. The darkness of space tore apart like paper. A massive shape pushed through the fabric of reality, dragging with it waves of twisted gravity that rippled across the star system. Alarms screamed on every ship within 100 million kilometers. Something impossible had just arrived. The Eternal Horizon emerged into normal space like a predator stepping from the shadows. 15 kilometers of scarred metal, bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Its hull was dark gray, marked with countless impacts from its long journey through the void. Thousands of gun ports lined its sides. Heat vents glowed red like angry eyes. The ship looked exactly like what it was, a weapon designed to survive anything the universe could throw at it. Inside the bridge, Captain Dae-hyun opened his eyes. The stasis pod hissed as it released him. His muscles ached from 87 years of frozen sleep. Around him, other pods opened. His crew was waking up. They had left Earth when his hair was still black. Now, according to the calendar, he should be 134 years old, but his body had barely aged a day. "Status report," Dae-hyun said, his voice rough from the long sleep. His throat felt like sandpaper. "All systems green, Captain," replied First Officer Tae-yang from his pod. The younger man moved slowly, fighting off the stasis sickness. "We made it. We're actually here." Communications Officer Ji-won pulled herself to her station. Her fingers flew across the controls. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple ships in the system. They're not human designs." The bridge went silent. Every person stopped moving. For 87 years, they had wondered if humanity was alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. "Show me," Dae-hyun ordered. The main screen flickered to life. A small vessel hung in space, elegant and smooth. It looked nothing like human ships. No weapons, no armor. It seemed built for beauty, not survival. The ship glowed softly with colors that shifted like oil on water. "They're beautiful," whispered Dr. Hana, the xenobiologist. Her eyes filled with tears. She had spent her entire life dreaming of this moment. "They're scanning us," Tae-yang said. His hand moved toward the weapons controls. "Old habits died hard. Don't respond," Dae-hyun ordered. "We're here in peace. Let them look." On the alien ship, panic had erupted. The Turian science vessel Harmony's Light was having the worst day in its crew's lives. Their sensors had just detected something that shouldn't exist. The readings made no sense. The power signature matched a small star. The weapons count was in the thousands. The hull was made of materials that could shrug off anything short of a supernova. Ambassador Velkris stood frozen at the sensor display. Her crystalline body vibrated with fear. In her 300 years of life, she had never seen anything like this. The ship was massive. It was armed. "It was impossible. What is it?" asked the captain of the Harmony's Light. "A dreadnought," Velkris whispered. "Like the ones from the ancient wars. But those were destroyed 10,000 years ago. Nothing that violent should exist anymore. Maybe they're peaceful." "Look at it. Count the weapons." "Does that look peaceful to you?" The Eternal Horizon drifted in space, waiting. Inside, Ji-won worked frantically at her station. She had prepared for this her entire life. First contact protocols, mathematical greetings, universal languages. She broadcast a carefully crafted message, prime numbers, images of Earth, pictures of humans smiling and reaching out in friendship. The message reached the Harmony's Light. Their translation computers tried to process it. Failed. The format was too alien. The mathematics were crude but functional. The images were horrifying. Creatures with forward-facing eyes like predators, mouths full of teeth, strong muscles built for chasing prey, and they were smiling. The Turians interpreted the bared teeth as a threat display. "They're targeting us," someone screamed on the Turian bridge. "That's not a weapons lock," Velcris said. "I think it's..." The Turians launched 3 survey drones toward the eternal horizon. Standard procedure for unknown contacts. The drones moved fast, their scanners active, trying to gather information about the massive ship. The eternal horizon's defense computers detected incoming objects. High velocity, active scanning equipment. The AI calculated threat probability, 73%. It made a decision in microseconds. Point defense lasers fired. 3 precise beams of light reached out across space. The drones evaporated into clouds of superheated metal. "No!" Daehyun shouted, but it was too late. On the Harmony's light, chaos erupted. The Turians watched their drones destroyed with casual ease. The monster ship hadn't even needed to use its main weapons. Just small defensive guns, and those guns had vaporized 3 drones instantly. "Retreat," ordered the Turian captain. "Emergency jump, now." The Harmony's light vanished into faster-than-light speed. It left behind a wake of distorted space and a transmission that screamed across every frequency. "Hostile contact. Extinction-level threat detected. All ships avoid Kepler 442 system." Daehyun sat in his command chair and watched the alien ship disappear. His hands were shaking. This wasn't how first contact was supposed to happen. "Not like this, Captain," Jiwon said quietly. "I'm receiving thousands of transmissions, all across the system. They're all saying the same thing in different languages." "What are they saying?" "Monster dreadnought death ship, run." Jiwon's voice cracked. "Sir, they're terrified of us." Engineer Bo-Ra pulled up a tactical display. 47 ships appeared on the sensors. They were moving into position around the eternal horizon. Far away, safe distance, like they were surrounding something dangerous. Like they were preparing to contain a threat. "They think we're here to kill them," Taeyang said. Daehyun looked at the display, at the ships keeping their distance, at the panicked transmissions flooding the channels. He thought about the eternal horizon, about its weapons, its armor, its design. Humanity had built this ship to survive meeting hostile aliens. They had prepared for war. They had armed themselves with the best weapons a violent species could imagine. And now, meeting peaceful aliens for the first time, those weapons had branded them as monsters. "What do we do, Captain?" Hana asked. Daehyun stood up. He straightened his uniform. He looked at his crew. Good people who had volunteered for this mission. People who wanted to meet aliens and shake their hands. People who had just been labeled as galaxy destroyers because they brought guns to a peaceful neighborhood. "We proved them wrong," Daehyun said. "We came here in peace and we're going to make them believe it. Even if it takes years. Even if they're afraid. We're not the monsters they think we are." "And if they attack us?" Taeyang asked. "Then we defend ourselves. But we don't fire first." "Not again." Daehyun pointed at the screen. "Get me a channel to their ships. All of them. I don't care if they can understand us or not. We're going to talk until someone listens." Outside, the eternal horizon floated in space, silent, waiting. Around it, 47 alien vessels formed a blockade. The galaxy's deadliest terror had made first contact. Now humanity had to convince the universe that monsters could choose to be something else. The wait began.